Hey, what's up guys? I'm Mr. Chris with infotainment.com. Today I am in a 2024 Ram 1500. We're going to install a wireless charger in the center console. So if you're missing the wireless charger and you want to add that, this is the video that you're going to want to see. This covers 2019 and newer Ram 1500 vehicles. I'm going to show you how to get this installed, so let's get started. All right, so where we're going to start is actually on the side of the center console. There's a little knockout plate right here that has a notch in the center of it, so you can use either a pick tool or a little flathead. All right, and then you have this little panel, trim panel right here that has to be removed. There's a 10 millimeter hidden right behind here. This thing is just held in with some retaining clips. So if you use a panel tool or your fingers, you can kind of wiggle this thing free. Just like that. Just got some clips on the back side. You pull it straight to the rear and it'll pop free. And there's the 10 mil that we needed to access. And now on the rear of this center console, there's one more little knockout plate like this with another 10 mil in it. So let's move over to the rear and pull that one out also. All right, so you kind of got to pull the seat forward. If your seat is kind of far back, it's covered with that base of the seat. But same thing like the front, same little knockout cover. And a 10 mil. Now that we got all these three removed, we'll do the same exact process on the driver's side. All right, so with all 6 10 millimeter bolts removed, we are free to pull our center console to the rear. It should slide very easily back. We don't actually have to remove it from the vehicle. I'm just gonna kind of prop it up just like this. This is all we're trying to access, were these screws right up top here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull all these screws up top, pop these side panels off, which will reveal a couple more screws hidden underneath there. These are all Phillips screws or 7 millimeter. Either one you got will work. These side pieces pop straight up. Here's one more screw here. And same thing on the other side. And all these screws are the exact same size, so you don't have to worry about getting them back in the right holes. With all that free, you should be able to just pull up on this pocket and you have some harnesses that are plugged in. All right, so you got 2 plugs right up top here. We're gonna get pulled out of there. And we do have the AC power outlet on the bottom, so we have one more plug at the bottom that we gotta pull out. And now we got our piece free. So basically what we need to do is swap our hub over and our AC outlet, and we'll get the new one mounted up with our wireless charger, and then we can reverse the removal, reinstall everything. All right, let's take it to the bench. So we have our pieces on the bench here. You can see from the back side exactly what we have to pull. Basically this little cubby up top, our hub, and our AC plug at the bottom. So I'm gonna start with the easiest one, just right at the bottom. Basically it squeezes in on the 4 tabs and then you just pop it outwards. And then to get it into the new one, just push it right into place, it'll lock into place. All right, now for the hub up top, it's a little trickier. You actually have some tabs in here that you're trying to separate. As you can see, I'm putting my little flat blade in there and pulling towards me. And you should get it to pull straight out. If your board from the hub doesn't pop out, then you can just pop that out. This should come out in one piece, but sometimes it'll come out in 2, just like that. Just reattach it, and all we have to do is move that over to the new one and press it down in place until it clicks, and that thing is now secure. Now let's move to the pocket, which is 2 7 millimeter screws or Phillips screws. And once you have that out, simply swapping it over to the other side is all we need to do. All right, now we're ready for the actual charging module. This one is also pretty easy to snap into place or drop into place. There's a LED indicator light right here. You're just gonna wanna line it up with that hole. It will fit this way kinda, but that won't be showing on the front side. So you wanna make sure you get that in the right position. You have 4 T20 torque screws that are included with this kit. This is where they go. All right, and there you have it. Now we can drop this back into the truck and reinstall our center console. All right, so we got back into the truck. I have our new wireless charger here. What I'm gonna do before I slide this in is I'm actually gonna drop the harness into the module, and I'm gonna run that through that hole right in the center down there. Now we can go ahead and plug in the 3 connectors that we unplugged earlier, and then we'll drop this into place. Now this mat that's way at the bottom down here sometimes gets in the way of fully seating our compartment here, so I'll just slide that out of the way. Now we can get this thing plugged in. All right, we got everything plugged in, and that's going from top down. We just push down and we'll put our mat back in there. All right, now we can put all of our screws back in place. All right, we're gonna drop in these 2 lower Phillips screws, one on either side. Then we can snap on a little upper trim. We'll do that on both sides. Then you have 2 more screws on the outsides there. And right in the center here, you had 2 screws that held that pocket on. Those are not used on this new piece here, so you can disregard those screws or keep them for extras or something. All right, before I go ahead and push our center console back into its resting position, I'm gonna feed that wire that I ran. I'm gonna go around the dash support here. Just kind of pull all the slack free. And now I can slide the console back into place. All right, now with the console in place, we can reinstall all 6 bolts, basically put all the panels back in, and we'll continue with the wiring portion of the install. All right, so before we get into the wiring up underneath the dash, I wanted to show you what it looks like outside of the dash, something easier for you to see. It's kind of hard for me and the camera to be up underneath the dash when you're getting up in there. So the wire and connector that we're concerned with on the BCM is this one right here. This is E. So if you go from top left to the right, you got A, B, C, D, E. This is the one that we're looking for. E is where that signal is going to come from to turn on that wireless charger. So basically the way this connector pops in there is a center tab right in the middle with a lever. You push that lever down and that'll push this whole connector out from the BCM. Now once you have it out, some of you may have a zip tie around here or something that makes it a little tight. You can cut that if you need a little bit extra wiggle room. But on the bottom side, you'll see that there's actually 2 connectors inside of this one housing. We're looking for the gray one, which is on the left side. And basically there's a little tab here that you have to push out and you can slide that connector up. You can see that right there. We're just kind of lifting that up. We can slide this out And now we have access to everything that we need on the inside here. So basically it's connector E, which is this one, pin 45. These are numbered, they're kind of hard to see here, but right here is 48, and right here is a 42. So if you just count upwards, 43, 44, 45, you can see this is the one that we want right here. If you don't have this wire populated in this connector, all you have to do is take your wire that's included with the kit that already has a terminal on it, slide it in here, it'll click into place, and you're good to go. You can slide this back into the housing and put everything back. If you do have a wire like we do, you can use many different ways to tap into this line. You can use a Scotch lock, you can use a T-tap, you can use a posi tap like I'm gonna show you, or you can even solder it if you wanted to be very thorough. But basically, the posi tap is pretty non-invasive, so this is the method that I'm gonna use here. This little blue wire is the example as the wire that you'd be tapping in. Your connector would have a pin on it. You would just snip that, strip back probably an eighth to a quarter inch of wire. Then on the pink side of your posi tap, you can see this connector completely unscrews. The pink side has a metal stud on the inside that if you back this out just a little bit, you can slide your wire in, tighten that back down, and that's a secure connection for your wire that you're going to tap into. The other side has actually a piercing needle that's going to pierce that wire and a notch for that wire to go into. So if you get this slid onto the wire that we're trying to tap, just like this, you can take the other end and simply screw it in until it's snug. Once it seats, that piercing needle is going to pierce that wire, make a connection, and right there you have a tap. Very seamless without actually cutting any wires. But this is only if you have that pin populated. If not, disregard this, plug it in, and you're good to go. Once you have it connected, you can go ahead and slide this back into its housing, just like that, and then attach it back to the brain. Now everything I did right here, I'm going to be doing underneath the dash. I'm going to continue with the wiring, and then for power and ground, I'm going to actually use an easy DC connector, which we also sell on our website. This makes for a very simple, easy way to tap into power and ground. This will plug into our power port that's above our infotainment screen, and I've extended it so it'll reach all the way down to where I need it, up underneath the dash, and I'm just going to attach power and ground with the included butt connectors. So if you want an easy way to tap into power, be sure to add this in to your cart when you order the kit from us. All right, let me get under the dash and get this all connected. All right, so from here, I'm going to take our wire and just kind of zip tie it up to a couple of harnesses that we have under our dash. Make my way over to the far left end of our driver dash underneath there. That's where our BCM is. All right, so I'm right where I need to be. I got the E connector right here. Get that unplugged. Here we are. All right, and these two extra wires, the red and this one with the ring terminal, I'm actually going to chop and make it equal length. And these are the wires that I'm going to attach to the power port, that easy DC connector that I mentioned earlier. This orange with the stripe is the only one that's going to go to our connector here. So just like I showed you on the bench, this gray side is the one that's going to come out. Sometimes you can get it with your fingernail. Yep, just like that. And we're looking for number 45, which is right there. So it looks like the same one that we had on our BCM example. All right, we got our posi tap connected. And I'm going to strip back about a quarter inch on there. Push that in all the way until it stops and tighten it back down. All right, that's a nice good connection. And for added support on our wire and our connection, I'm going to throw a zip tie a little bit downstream here. All right, and that's all we need to do. Now I'll get this plugged back in. All right, now we're ready to go up to the radio. We'll get our power port connection connected and we'll run it back down here and get our power and ground attached. All right, now to pull our radio out, all we gotta do is pop up the little rubber pad on the top cubby here. That'll expose two 7mm screws or Phillips going straight down. And now there's nothing else holding in our radio. We can just pull it rearward. And that'll pop that free. And way up top here is our cigarette lighter plug or power port plug. And now we'll grab our power port. This is essentially just a T-harness. Plug that in, and the other end will go in to the factory connector. All right, now we have a nice power connection coming off of here. I'm just gonna run this over to the driver's side through the dash here. All right, so I just reached underneath there. I pulled the slack out. Now I'm ready to snap our dash back together. All right, now we're ready to jump under the dash and connect our last two connections. All right, so I'm just gonna zip tie these or this line across the same path that I took earlier. All right, now from here, we can go ahead and just attach the red to red and the black to black. But like I said earlier, in order to get this connection here, we're gonna have to cut off that ring terminal that came pre-wired. We'll strip this back. And then we can just crimp our connections, and then I'll zip tie the slack up and we can go ahead and test out our wireless charger. All right, so the installation part is done. Now we're ready to start programming. Basically, what we have to do is install a security gateway bypass. I went ahead and pulled down the knee bolster of our truck just to show you where it is. It's up underneath the dash, kind of to the left of the steering wheel, going straight up. So this is it right here. There's two plugs, and if you pull them out, you'll see what you got there, two connectors. And on the bypass, you also have two spots for those connectors. So basically, you're just gonna plug this in, and this is gonna allow us to get our programming done. All right, once you have your bypass module plugged in, we can go ahead and run our Genie programmer. And this is gonna be plugged into your OBD2 port after you turn the ignition into the run position. So let's go ahead and do that now. All right, so we'll turn the ignition on, into run. Plug in our programmer. You're gonna see a blue light to begin, and then it's going to turn green and the horn is going to honk when the programming is finished. All right, we got a green light. That means we're good to go. And now we can test out our wireless charger. And don't forget, once you get the programming complete, you don't need that bypass module plugged in anymore. You can go ahead and unplug it and plug your gateway module back in underneath your dash.
All right, guys, as you can see, such an easy to install upgrade. And what a convenient feature for your Ram truck. Just simply place your phone into the slot here, and as soon as the blue light illuminates, it'll let you know that it's charging. So it's easy to grab. If you are on the road, you do need it for some reason, just slide it back into place and it starts charging again. A nice, convenient feature for the 2019 and newer Ram trucks.
All right, we got the wireless charger install all wrapped up. As you can see, it really wasn't too bad, pretty painless. 30 minutes to an hour, depending on your skill level. This wireless charger is a great pairing to Uconnect 5 if you have Uconnect 5 as your infotainment setup, as well as push button start. We also installed passive entry on this truck, so now this truck is completely wireless and hands-free. You come into the truck, you pull the handle, it unlocks the door, you get in, you drop your phone, it starts charging. You got Uconnect 5 on your radio, so your Android Auto or iPhone Apple CarPlay automatically shows up. If you like this kind of video and you want to see more, please be sure to head back to infotainment.com. Thanks for watching.